We're up to Yerushalmi Demai. We are test on the base in the art scroll pages, right? Old-fashioned pages, Daf 10a on the base. So we're up to Chalas Amaretz on Meduma. Is that right? So things bought from Amaretz, used Masechet and leftover menachas. That Amaretz brought them. They are all parted from Demai. Amrav Yechon b'shosha gazru al Demai. When the original decree was done on Demai, le gazru al Dvarim halalu. There was no gezerah on these things. There's a mitzvah to eat them. The Chachamim didn't want to be machmir and to obligate them in Demai. Rav Oshia said, now the reason why they're patul, because probably the Amaretz took Maisa. Because Emas Kodshim alav, he's very worried about Kodshim. There's no way he's going to give something holy which has not had Maisa taken from it. So that's the reason behind it. Now, the Gemara brings a nafkamina between these two opinions. So one said there was no gezerah, and the other one said Emas Kodshim. So where which we said in the Brisa, in our Mishnah, Chalas Am Haaretz, the Chal of Am Haaretz is part of the Demai. Al-Da'at Rav Oshia, where according to Rav Oshia, B'Chalas Am Haaretz he must nisa. The Mishnah took about a Chala which an Am Haaretz separated and gave to a Cohen. So we say he took Meiser on it because he had the fear of Kodshim on him. Abel Chaver Shalokach Isam Am Haaretz, V'Hifrish Chalasa, if a Talmud Chacham takes the dough and he separates the Chala, that would not be potter from Demai, because when the dough was in the Rishus of Amaretz, the Chala had not yet been taken. There was no fear, therefore, on Amaretz, and therefore we have to worry that Maisa hadn't been taken. But Al-Da'atid Rabbi Yochanan, according to Rabbi Yochanan's view, the din is the same. The din is like the din of this situation. The potter Chala is always potter from Demai, because the Patur is not because of the Ne'monos Amaretz, but it's because of Takonas Chachamim that Chala was exempt from Demai. Another difference between the two reasons, the Mishnah says Hamaduma, which is fruit bought from an Amaretz and got mixed up with Truma, is parted from Demai. According to Rav Oshia, Beperes Amaretz must nisa. Talking about where the Truma got mixed up with Peres while they are still in the possession of Amaretz. So in this situation, there was the Kedusha on him, the fear of Kedusha. So we say he must have taken Maisa. If the Chava buys the fruit and then they got mixed up with Truma, the Mishnah did not pass it from Demai. In this situation, when the fruit is in the Shus of the Marais, it's not yet got mixed up. There was no fear of Kedusha on it. Whereas Adata Rabbi Yochanan, the din will be the same according to Rabbi Yochanan. They're both parted from Demai, because the Patur is not dependent on the Ne'monos of the Amaretz. It's Hakonas Chachamim. That the Patur is the fact that it's a mixture of Meduma with Truma is part of Demai. Now, what is the other differences? Ma nafik mibenehan. What other differences can there be? So my answers, they also argue in a situation where sa'ayla b'tech me'ah. So imagine you have a sa of Truma that got mixed up, and it got batel in 100 sa of chulin. So the whole mixture is permitted, but you have to take out one sa and give it to the kohenim. You shouldn't earn and gain because of the bittul of truma in this mixture, right? So it's 100 chulin, one truma, it got mixed up. Take one out, give it to the kohen. Adata Rav Yochanan, according to Rav Yochanan, chayaves, the mixture is chayav d'mai. It's not meduma, it's not included in the exemption. But adata Rav Oshia patur, according to Rav Oshia, the whole mixture is parted from d'mai, because again, there's emas kodshim, there's the fear of kodshim on the Amaretz. Since we have to take a saw out and give it to the kohen, therefore he's worried, therefore we can say that all the maestros have been separated. Tani we learned in a brisa with things which are kedusha, where the Mishnah exempted from Demai, but kulam shekara shem the trumas maaseh. If you did give a name to trumas maaseh on this Demai, or you basically separated Maaseh Sheni out of this mixture, you had no obligation, but you went ahead anyway. Masha asa, what's done is done. And now Trumas Maaseh is Asa to Zarim. And you have to take that Maaseh Sheni to Shalayim. Adata Rabbi Yochanan Nicha. According to Rabbi Yochanan, I understand why they're parted from Demai, because we weren't machmir on you. If you want to be machmir on yourself and take Maaseh, it's valid. So you made Maaseh Sheni, you went and decided to make Maaseh Sheni, you have to take it to Shalayim. I understand that. But Adata Rabbi Hoshia, according to Rabbi Hoshia, now according to him, the reason why they were exempt, because we say Matukani, they're already Maaseh anyway. And you're telling me now if you go and take Meiser again, the Meiser is Chal, but they've already been Meisered. It can't be that fruit that was already Meisered, you can't start taking Meiser again. So the Gemara actually answers the question. According to Rav Oshia, the Meiser is Chal, why? You know why? Because one person out there, one person might definitely not take Maaser. There's no fear of Kodshim on him, even though most people take Maaser, and most people have the aim of Kodshim, you're always going to get one who doesn't have it. They won't take Maaser, right? Therefore, if you buy Maaser foods, and these Maaser is Achal, if you ended up... when the person is actually taking Maaser on these foods, the Maaser is Chal, because it could be one person out there did not take Maaser on this produce. Tani related to the Maaser, if you did go and call it Maaser Sheni or Trumas Maaser, even though you had no obligation, Masha Asa Asa was done is done, and the Maaser has become holy, because there might be one person out there who never took Maaser. So the Bryce actually explains the reason for its din. Now, if you buy fruit with kesef of Maaser Sheni, you're positive from Demai. So you asked in front of Rav. That's all very well. You're positive from taking Demai if it was bekesef. You bought it with money of Maaser Shel Vadai. It's a great Gersa. Where you're machalal on this money, definite Maaser Sheni. Definite Vadai Maaser Sheni, and you will machale onto this money, okay, and then you use this money, you're potter from being Maaser Demai, because there's Kedusha on the fruits that were bought, and the Chachamim were makel to patter them from Demai. But if Afilu B'Demai, what about fruit that were bought with Maaser Sheni, money which was used for Maaser Sheni of Demai, right? Maaser Sheni of Demai, which is only a suffix in holiness. And you use that money, so, what's the din there? Is it potter from Demai on this fruit that you've gone and bought? Very good question, and we don't have the answer. Shiyari Menachas, we said if an Amma Aretz brought a mincha offering, you've got leftovers there, Paturim in Demai. There's no reason for Demai. Tani we learned. V'kulan kara shein the Trumas Maaser. We said in our brisa, if you went and gave a name of Trumas Maaser from Demai, or Maaser Sheni Shalahen, Masha also was done, is done. So Reb Lazar, he says, Chutz M'shiyoi Menachos. He says, out of that whole list, what's done is done, but not with the flour offerings. Right? Why not with the flour offerings? Because with them, even if you gave it a name for their Maaser, it's not Chal. You know why not? They're considered Mammon Gavaya. It's heavenly money. It's not your money. Right? Mincha is an offering. Mammon Gavaya. It's not your money. And therefore you can't give it a name of Maaser. So that's what he's saying here. So Chutz M'shiyoi Menachos, that one, even if you give a name for Maaser, you can't, because it's not yours. It's not Chal. Now what comes out, that any food of Demai, which is Mammon Gavaya, you can't give it a name Maaser. It's not your money. Now, Rabbi Yirmiyah, he says, Hashab B'Machlokes. He says, there are other things in that list. It's not so straightforward, whether it's Chal or not. If you bought something with Maaser Sheni money, right? That's also an argument, Rabbi Yehuda. Is Maaser Sheni your money, or is it heavenly money? Right? Maaser Sheni is a question on that. What is it? Is it yours or not? Okay. So you find an argument. Now, what do we see from here? Maaser Sheni, there's an argument. Is it Mammon Gavaya or not? But the flour offerings, everyone agrees. That's Mammon Gavaya. You can't give that a name Maaser. Rabbi Yossi boy, he says, hi, the Machlokes. What argument is Rabbi Yirmiyah thinking about that it's only for Maaser Sheni, but not for flour offerings? Because Ma'anan Kiyom, which Tan are we talking here? In Reb Meir, now this is the way Rabbi Yossi understood things. He said, if you're going to hold like Reb Meir, he holds Maaser Sheni is heavenly. Then Shiyoi Menachos, and he says Maaser Sheni is not yours, Menachos is not yours. He holds everything is not yours, so you can't give it a name Maaser. It's not yours. If you separate Maasers, it's nothing. Lo asa klum. You separate Maasers, it's not worth. No, it doesn't happen. They're Mammon Gavaya. They're not your money. This is the way Rabbi Yossi understood that according to Reb Meir, both of them are not yours. In Rabbi Yehuda, and if you're going to follow like Rabbi Yehuda, who holds that Maaser Sheni is your money, but he holds that Menachos are also your money. He holds one of the leftovers Menachos is considered your money, and both of you separate Maasers. What's done is done. So the way Rabbi Yossi understood, Reb Meir holds everything belongs to Hashem, and Rabbi Yehuda holds everything belongs to you. So where is there an argument here? So he says, Amr Mana, Azalis lekisrin. I went to Kisrin. Shmois Reb Chizkiya Yosef Mathli. He was teaching. Hamakadesh bechelkai. If you are makadesh a woman with the share that you got from leftovers of carbon, whether it's kachim kachim or kachim kalim, einon mekudeshes. They're not mekudeshes. It's mom and gavaya. She's not mekudeshes. You've tried to betroth her. Huh?
It's something that's not yours.
It's not yours, exactly. So this opinion holds you use leftovers of shiori carbon. It's not yours, so she is not engaged to you. And Reb Chizkiya carries on. He brings the machlokes. Reb Lazar, he says divrakol. He says, yeah, everyone knows this. Reb Yehuda might argue in the Mishnah there. He's arguing about another din there. But the Mekadesh Maser Sheni, he might say, is not Mukudeshes, and Reb Yehuda argues, says Maser Sheni is your money. But as far as leftovers of a carbon, he doesn't argue. And according to him, Mammon Kachim is Mammon Gavaya, you can't be Mekadesh with it. Rabbi Yochanan, now Amar, he said, even this halach of Mekadesh with Kachim is actually the Machlokes, is an argument. Rabbi Yehuda argues, well, even on this, he holds she is engaged. Because he holds Maser Sheni and Kachim is your money. And you can be Mekadesh with it. Okay, so there you are. So you have an argument. Is carbon, is it Machlokes or not? But Amoris, now I told Reb Chizkiya. Reb Chizkiya was the one who said, Kachim or Kachim Kalim, she's not Mekudeshes. I told him, Menam Shama Rabbi Hadam Milsa. Where did you hear this from? This argument between Reb Lazar and Rabbi Yochanan. Right? We had an argument, Reb Lazar and Rabbi Yochanan, which we have on the other page. Right? As to are they talking about Mincha, or talking about Maser Sheni, Menachos? Is there an argument which ones are considered your money, which are not considered your money? So it says, Menam Shama Rabbi Yochanan. Where did you hear this thing? The argument between Rabbi Lazar and Rabbi Yochanan. But Amali says, "Min Rabbi Yirmiyah." From Rabbi Yirmiyah, I heard it. But Amoris, I said, "Yes, that's right. Now I understand." Rabbi Yossi asked a question on Rabbi Yirmiyah. Why? Because Rabbi Yirmiyah, Duhu Shama, Jehu. Why did Rabbi Yossi ask a question on Rabbi Yirmiyah? Because basically they heard different things. He says, Rabbi Yirmiyah, Duhu Shama Hadat Rabbi Lazar. He heard the view of Rabbi Lazar that you use leftover korbanos. That din, everyone agrees, divra koli. Everyone agrees it's not your money. So he's the one who said, Da'ama b'machlokes. So he says, well, Maser Sheni is an argument. Korbanos maybe is not your money. Maser Sheni is an argument between Rameh and Rabbi Yehuda, but not Menachos. So that's why he said what he did. But Rabbi Yossi questioned this. He never heard Rabbi Lazar's view. So he had the question. He didn't understand Rabbi Yirmiyah's view. He'd never heard Rabbi Lazar. He didn't know where Rabbi Yirmiyah was getting his facts from. And therefore, Huduama, and that's why he's asking, and he says, Haida Machlokes, what argument are you talking about, Rabbi Yirmiyah? What are you talking about? Because in Kurmeah, according to Kurmeah, everything is Hashem's. Maser Sheni, he Shior Menachos. Everything belongs to Hashem. It's not yours. You separate Maestros, Le'asa Klum. And in Rabbi Yehuda, if you want to hold like Yehuda, he holds everything is yours. Maser Sheni and Menachos, Masha Asar, so what's both done is done. It's Mom and Hediot. So basically, Rabbi Yossi hadn't heard what Rabbi Lazar had said, and that's why he questioned. He said, which argument are you talking about? Okay? Shemen Arev, if you take this oil, which is bought from Amaretz, but Shammai obligate you to take Masechet Demai, Beis Hillel Patering. Tani, we've learned, Rabbi Yehuda, Lai Patra, Beis Hillel, Ela Shem Shal Plaiton. It's one mixed with the Samim Bavad, that's the one where Beis Hillel pattered. Type of oil where you have Demai, and there is another one. Beis Hillel obligated to Masechet Demai b'shemen vered, even with the oil of vered, which is with a rose oil of some kind, which is called veradinun. Okay, right. Right, let's carry on. With Demai, you can use it for a Ruvei Chatzeres, a Ruvei Tzuchumin. You're more than 2,000 amas away. Or Mishtatfin by, and you can join up all the various Chatzeros into the alleyway, right? Shtufim Mavois. Umvachin alav, and you can make if you eat it, you can make a bracha before and after. Umazamnin alav, include it for Zimon, and Mafrishanoi said you can separate Maestros of Demai, even if Aram, if he's not clothed. Because even though it's also to, he can't make a bracha, but here there's no bracha. Demai, you don't make a bracha on separating Demai, right? Because most road is mastering. Really, there's only a slight chance that it needs it. So we don't make a bracha So therefore a person, even if he's not clothed, he can still be mafresh when it comes to Demai. And he's allowed to also separate Maestros Ben Hashmashos, which is Friday at twilight. V'im higdim Maaseh Sheni L'Rishon ein bekach klum. If you go out of order with Demai, really you should do Maaseh Rishon first. But if you change the order, you don't lose your opportunity to say the Vidoy Maaseh. Okay? This idea of being mafresh Ben Hashmashos, even though you brought Shabbos in before Ben Hashmashos, you never had the intention to take on the Tosefos, where it's more chamor than the normal Ben Hashmashos. Okay, so therefore you allowed yourself this still chance. Hashemen shehagirdi sachbetz ba'is, of the oil that the weaver puts on his fingers, chayav b'dmai, is obligated, it's considered like drinking. But shasayrik nosim b'tzemer, what the comber puts on the comb, on the wool, so it'll be easy to scratch it off. Part of min admai, is exempt from dmai, because it's like oil, which is to be anointing vessels, right? So it's part of from dmai. But fish and Isara, we can separate Maestros from Demai, even though you're not wearing anything. Even though it's asked to make a bracha, you're allowed to be mafresh Maestros from Demai, because Hafroshos Maaseh from Demai ain't a ton bracha, it doesn't need a bracha. But Ben Hashmashos, we said you're allowed to separate Maestros Demai by Shabbos. Now this also, Hadada Tanina, that which we've learned, we've seen it elsewhere. When the time comes, Savich HaShecha, Savich Lech HaShecha, which is twilight, you can't take Maestros on that which is definite, but you can take Maestros on that which is Demai. Tara Chalafta Ben Shol Machilat Mechalin, you can be Mechalal Masa Sheni of Demai B'merchatz, in a bathhouse. Because Chilul, just converting Kedusha onto money or whatever it is, ain't a ton bracha, there's no bracha there. Hovadai, if it's definite Masa Sheni, ton bracha, that needs a bracha. So that you can't do in the bathhouse. You can't make a bracha in the bathhouse. Now what is the nusach bracha on Chilul Vadai, the definite Masa Sheni, you're being Mechalal it? What is the bracha on that? Ramana Baikum Rabutan Ketzarum Bavarach. What do you make when you're Mechala Masa Sheni? Amar, he says, Imayu Peros, if it was fruits of Masa Sheni and you want to put it onto money, then Asheki Chadav says it's one of Alpidya Masa Sheni. The main action is redemption, not transferring the Kedusha to the money. The money is not really, you can't fulfill the mitzvah of Masa Sheni with this money. So it's better Lashon of redemption. Imhayu Ma'os, if you had money of Masa Sheni, you have the money now, and you want to go back and put it onto fruit, then the version of the bracha is al chilul Masa Sheni. So in this situation, the kedusha is going to the fruit, where it's fitting to have a mitzvah of achil eating Masa Sheni. It's a lashon chilul. You're transferring holiness from one thing to another. Im higdim sheni l'rishon, if you called a name to Masa Sheni in Demai before you gave a name to Masa Rishon. So you went out of order. Now normally we want you to go in order. We're saying it's not a problem. Now the Lashon, if you did it, sounds like B'Shava, if you went and did it. But in the first place, it's not something we want you to do. Rabbi Babare Rabbi B'Shem Rabbi Yochanan, Mutar lahaktim sheni l'rishon b'Demai. He says, no, you are allowed to separate Masa Sheni before Masa Rishon when it comes to Demai. The Lashon, if you did it, is B'di'ah. It doesn't mean that. It sounds like B'di'ah, but if it's not B'di'ah, it's L'chatchila. You can separate Masa Sheni before Masa Rishon. Rabbi Yaakov Barach, now usually, why is that a problem? Right? Why should you go in order, Rabbi say? Because usually, the Chiyuvim are less from what came before. In other words, Masa Rishon goes to the Ani. From whatever's left, you have to separate Masa Sheni to take to Shalayim. So Masa Sheni must be produce that Masa Ani has already been taken. And when you change the order round, you're not going to get that, right? It's meant to have had Masa Ani already taken, or Masa Rishon taken, and you've gone against it.
Is that because the quantities are different?
It's to do with the quantities as well, yeah. Your Masa Sheni is left, so for example, if you have 100, 10 should go to Masa Rishon. Masa Rishon, to Levi. Out of the 90 that's left, 9 goes to Masa Sheni, to Shalayim, or Masa Ani, whatever. Right? So you see, Masa Sheni is what after what's left. It's already had Masa Rishon sorted out of it and what's left. But what have you done now? If you take Masa Sheni first, you've not separated Maser Rishon on that mixture yet. So it's got a bit of Maser Rishon in it, which you have to sort out. So let's see. So what have we got here? So where are we now? With Demai, there's a special din that you are allowed to put one before the other. Because it could be doesn't need anything at all. It could be it's Demai, right? It could be all the Maisos have already been taken. Now, Rabbi Yaakov bar Acha bar Idi b'shem Rishub Levi, he said, Lo yaseh, don't change the order. Im asa, masha asa asa. If you've done it, then what's done is done. Now, Maule mikvah sheni b'mokum rishon. Okay, we're going to go a bit slow with this piece because it's a bit of a harder piece. I've even got the English version today. So let's see how we go. So Maule mikvah sheni b'mokum rishon. Right, okay. So what about, you want to designate Maser Sheni, the bit which Maser Rishon will also eventually be designated. You're going to give it Maser Rishon name later. So can I separate Maser Sheni now, and then I'll redeem it, and then I'll make Maser Rishon on that Demai. I'll separate Maser Rishon later on. You hear that? So you're redeeming Maser Sheni and then redesignating it as Maser Rishon.
So you're redefining what you're already.
You want to redefine, of course. So you see, usually when you change the order, you have to go and be Mafrish Maser Rishon, because Maser Sheni is Chayav and Maser Rishon. Anything that comes later is Chayav with what came before, right? So now, on the one hand, Demai, is Maser Rishon really coming first? Demai, you're allowed to put Maser Sheni before Maser Rishon. Lechatchila, you're allowed to separate Maser Sheni first. Therefore, any Maser that's separated first is the Mukdam. You don't have to go and be Mafrish the Maser, the other one. You don't have to give me Mafrish again. So once the Maser Sheni was separated first, it's Potel for Maser Rishon. On the other hand, even Demai is considered Maser Rishon really should come first, but there was a leniency, you're allowed to change the order. Okay. So what are we saying now? Ma'al mikvah sheni b'makom rishon. Can you give a name of Maser Sheni to a bit, and then you're going to give it another name? So can you be Mafresh Maser Sheni first, and then redeem it, and to make Maser Rishon of Demai? So can you go back on it? So let's see. Rabbi Yossi ben Shaul, I selay. Rabbi Yossi ben Shaul, I selay Arisa Peri. So his sharecropper, he brought him some Demai, which hadn't taken Maser from it. Amale, and he said to the sharecropper, say Ukva, go and separate Maser Sheni. After he'd done this, Rabbi Yossi ben Shaul went and redeemed the Maser. Chazav Amale, then Rabbi Yossi told the Oris, say Ukva Rishon. Now you can go and separate Maser Rishon. Why is Rabbi Yossi not worried? Maybe that he's made Maser Rishon where there was Maser Sheni before, the same fruit. But he's obviously not worried about it. Hadar, this tells me, you are allowed to designate Maser Sheni a portion where Maser Rishon will eventually be designated there. So you can designate a portion of Demai as Maser Sheni, redeem it, and then redesignate it as Maser Rishon. Ula Ba'ishma, L'Shem Rabbi Yechon, he said, Paita hu Adam es Tivlai. You can exempt your tevel of Demai from all obligations. Besoa achas shel tevel. You only need one saw of tevel, you can pater everything. Right? This is going to agree with what we said, that you can redesignate. Right? This is a proof to that. So how are you going to do it? He says, maybe saw achas shel tevel. You bring one saw of tevel, but isa sheni, and you make one saw of tevel, and you make it into Maser Sheni. Fine? And then you redeem it. So it's now chulin. But no Maser Rishon has ever been separated from it. But Chayzav Isa is a Maser Rishon. So then you go and then you go and make it into Maser Rishon afterwards. You can make the whole Sar Maser Rishon. Now Trumas Maser L'Mokam Achen. There's a question here what the Girsa is. Chayzav Isa is a Maser Rishon, whether it's Utrumas. Now the Hebrew, here they've got Utrumas Maser L'Mokem Acher. So you can make it. Let's read this again. So Chayzav Isa is a Maser Rishon. So you can redesignate it as Maser Rishon, and designate the whole Sar as Trumas Maser on behalf of Maser Rishon you have elsewhere. You hear that? So you're going to make it into Trumas Maser for a Maser that you have elsewhere. So you see, you could redesignate Maser Sheni as Maser Rishon. That's what we see here, because that's what happened over here. You first made it Maser Sheni, and then you made it Trumas Maser. Now we're going to challenge this. Nachas Ula Letama. Ula went down to Bavel. But Amra and the Shem of Yochanan, and he said this din in the name of Yochanan, V'chavrin alai, and the Chachamim they weren't happy with it. Hasid Rav Sheshes. Rav Sheshes challenged him. V'hamas Nisa Pliga. There's a brisa which argues in this din. The Mishnah says, okay, Rabbi, so this is where you got to hold your head, right? You ready? Haya lefanav shtei kalkalas shel tevel. Right, you've got 2 baskets of tevel. And what do you say? 2 baskets of tevel. And you say, the maestros of this basket are in that basket. And the maestros of that basket should be in this basket. You hear that? Each basket has maestros for the produce of the other basket. So the din is, the produce of the first basket, you have separated maser for that, from the second one. But the produce of the second one, I'm sorry, you have not taken maser for that. Got that? So you want 1 to come from 2, 2 to come from 1. 1 you sorted straight away. 2 is going to be maser for 1. 2, I'm afraid, no. You're not going to be able to separate some maser in 1 for 2. Right? Basically, they were made in sequence. So the second one can't happen. Why not? As soon as you made the first designation, that first basket was now matukan, was now rectified. It's not subject to maestros anymore. It can no longer be used as maser for the second basket. Only produce still subject to maser can be designated as maser. The produce of the second one remains tevel. So the second basket now has maestros that was designated for the first basket and its own tevel. Okay? To allow you to eat that, you have to separate maestros from it and designate another set of maestros to rectify the remaining produce that is still tevel. Shall I say that bit again, Rabbi Isai? So the second basket, what's it got? It's got both now. It's got the maestros for the first one and its own tevel. To allow it, you have to separate maestros from it and designate another set of maestros to rectify what's left that's still tevel. And we're going to bring a brisa that will tell you exactly how much you have to separate from the second basket in order to achieve that. Okay? So that's what we've got so far. Now, the Taniala. Now, as far as this din in the brisa, what is the procedure for removing the various maestros? Let's see. Noitel, now you've got to find the gesais all over the place, Rabbi Isai, in this piece here. Are we talking about the 200ths? Are we talking about the 2 SARs that we have? Are we talking about the amounts in the 2 baskets? They go all over the place. And there's a Gra Gersa. And there's even a similar Gemara later on, which doesn't need a whole thing. We're trying to bring a Raya again, what? Can Maser Sheni go and be called Maser Rishon? Some elements of this brisa refer to that point. Other elements of this brisa don't refer to that. So there's a Gemara Gersa later on where they've left out bits because they took it out there because it wasn't needed there. So some words are here where the same Gemara is there and it's not there. If you see what I mean. Should I say that again? You follow that? So you've got a sugya here, same sugya later on, and the Gra makes differences between the Girsas because here we need to discuss Maser Sheni becoming Maser Rishon. Over there, it's a different angle, a different question. So he actually changes the Girsa between the Gemara here and the Gemara there. Right? So, and even from what I can see, between the English art scroll and the Hebrew art scroll, there's also different Girsais as well. So that's just to throw in a spanner there. So, Batania. So we learnt a brisa. What is the procedure? I'm going to follow the English art scroll on this one, okay? Noitel min hashnia. You're going to separate from the second basket twice 2/10 of 100 sar, which is 40 sar. So shtei pa'amim shnei isurin. I don't know if you have that girsa or not. Shtei pa'amim shnei isurin. This is the girsa I'm going to use, which is following the Gon. Okay, so you're going to separate from the second basket twice 2/10 of 100. So you've got to separate 40 sar, ve'isurin, and the 10th, which is a 10th of the 40 sar, or 4 sar, ve'isuray shel isur, and a 10th of a 10th. So that's a 10th of the 4 sar, or 4/10 of a sar. Basically, to permit the produce of both baskets, you're going to remove 44.4 sar from the second basket. Okay? 44.4. Now let's explain this a bit. 2 baskets. Each one has 100. Okay? Where Truma Gedola has already been removed. So I want to allow these baskets here. Now, normally, what do you need to rectify 200 sar of tevel, where the Truma has already been gone? Normally it's 38. Because a 10th of the entire 200, so 20 normally is your Maser Rishon. Okay? And then a 10th of what's left, now I'm down to 180, so a 10th of what's left, another 18, would be your Maser Sheni. That would be 38. But we've got 44.4. How do we get 44.4? So we have to consider the Maasros. Now there are 4 Maasros that need to be separated here. You've got Maser Rishon and Maser Sheni for the first basket. And you've got Maser Rishon and Maser Sheni for the second basket. So let's look at the Maser Rishon first, for the first basket. Now, Maasros for the first basket, where do you want the Maasros to come from? You want them to come from the second basket. Now remember, normally, I take from one basket, here's my 100, I take out 10. Normally. And so it's 10 over 90, right? That's the fraction that's needed. But here I don't want to do that. I want to take from elsewhere for this whole 100. So it's not 10 to 90 fraction. I need to cover the whole 100 here. So I need more than 10. I need 11 and a bit. Because that's the percentage that I need to cover this bit. Instead of 10 and 90, I've got to cover the whole 100. So I need a bit more than 10. So the first thing what you're doing is you want to rectify the 100 in the first basket. So you're separating the Maasros of the first basket from outside, not from this basket. And that affects how much you have to separate. When it's within, we said 10 out of the 100. But when you're separating Maaseh for this from elsewhere, we said it's going to be 11 bits, right? It will be more than a 10th. It will come to slightly more than 11, okay? Now, what about Maser Sheni for the first basket? Okay, we've spoken about Maser Rishon, so you know where we get 11 from so far, right? Maser Sheni of the first basket, normally, I separate my 10 out of my 100. What have I got left on both sides? Normally, I have 90. I need 9, normally. So out of 90, I need 9. But now, normally, amount of Maser Sheni, okay. Normally it's less. Because why is it less? Because whatever came first, whatever precedes, is subject to it, but it's not subject to the counterparts. And what that means, whatever comes first in the order of Maasros, then what comes later has to have that part of it in as well. You follow that? When there's a second master, that has to include the first master to take off the figure. So now, Maser Rishon, you have to take Maser before Maser Sheni. So Maser Rishon is exempt from Maser Sheni. Once Maser Rishon is separated, only the amount that remains is subject to Maser Sheni. If you want to take 100 sar from inside, we said you remove 10, and then you're left with 90, and you remove 9. But if Maser Rishon is coming from outside, it doesn't reduce the amount in this basket obligated in Maser Sheni. And the amounts of Maser Rishon and Maser Sheni to be taken will be equal. So you need, for 100 from outside, you need 11.1 for Maser Rishon and 11.1 for Maser Sheni. That's what you need. So far we're up to 22.2. You still with me? Okay, we're up to 22.2. Now, we have to take Maser Rishon and Maser Sheni from the second basket. Okay? So basically, really, you shouldn't have to do all 100 in the second basket. 22.2, you've already taken out Maasros of 22.2 from that second basket. But you want Maasros for each basket to be designated in the other one. You want to designate the same amount of Maasros for each basket. So it's as if you're specifying that you want to do more than you have to do. And that's as well, as long as the discrepancy is within a certain range that you can make a mistake. So basically you have 22.2 in the second basket on behalf of the second basket as well. And therefore the total amount that you end up separating from the second basket is 44.4. Okay? That's according to the amended version of the Gaon. Okay. The other Gersayos talk about whether it's the Truma and the Maaseh as being the two Isurim is like the first basket and the second basket, whatever it is. Now, V'yital shtei Isurim. Now, according to Rabbi Yochanan, why do you have to take twice 2/10? You could separate one set of 2/10, V'yaseh Oisan Sheni, and then designate it, one of them as Maser Rishon, the other as Maser Sheni on behalf of the first basket, and then redeem it. V'yiftem, redeem it. V'yachza v'yasem Maser Rishon, and redesignate it as Maser Rishon on behalf of the second basket. Basically, we could have changed it in the middle. Why take two lots for each one? Take it as one and redeem it, and then make it as the other one.
This wouldn't make a difference.
What?
You'll
have to put it on the money. You can put.
If you change the order,
yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you change the order. But we're saying, why do you have to take two lots? Take one and then redeem it, and then make it the other one. So take one of them as Maser Rishon, the other as Maser Sheni for the first basket. V'yiftem, redeem the Maser Sheni bit. Okay, you'll have to go somewhere. You'll have to have some money to count for it. V'yasa Maser Rishon, and redesignate it as Maser Rishon on behalf of the second basket. But the Brisa doesn't allow you to do that, so we see that you can't redesignate Maser Sheni as Maser Rishon. That's what he wants to say. Amar of Hanania. Rav Hanania said, Tana. Now, in the situation where Rabbi Yochanan was speaking, at the time when you separated Maser Sheni, Kri Shuhu Toivel the Rishon or the Sheni. Right, let's see this now. He says basically that mixture was Tevel in respect to Maser Rishon and Maser Sheni. Even after you designate the Maser Sheni, it's still Tevel with respect to Maser Rishon. It's still subject to Maser Rishon. You can redesignate as Maser Rishon. Something which is still Tevel, as far as Maser Rishon, you can give it a name Maser Rishon. Now in this case, or this brisa here, let's see what's happened. But in this brisa, you designate Maser Rishon, and then Maser Sheni. Sheni Shenitka Machmas HaRishon, the Maser Sheni has already been rectified by the Maser Rishon. It doesn't need Maser Rishon taken for it anymore. The Maser Sheni is following on after you've already separated Maser Rishon. It's not subject to Maser Rishon anymore. At Chayzer v'Oisa Rishon, you now redesignate it as Maser Rishon. You follow. When there's something with Tevel, I now call it Maser Rishon. But this Sheni has been corrected as far as Rishon is concerned. And now to go and call this Rishon again, when it's already been Masukim for Rishon, says you can't do that. V'amar Rabbana. And Rabbana said, Ve'ein, is that where we are? Ve'ein Sheni Shabrishayna. Is that where we're going? Ve'ein Sheni Shabrishayna. Yeah. One second, which Geusa is this? This is, have you got this Geusa?
Slightly different.
No. Yeah, so the extra line. Yeah, but Rishon, but it can't be. But the Maser Sheni is very Masukah, and so in the Hebrew art scroll they haven't put any more words. In the English art scroll they put a few more words. The Ein Sheni Shabishayna Tavo L'Rishon Shabishniya. So the Gemara is concluding, what you're separating as Maser Sheni for the first basket is Tevel as far as Maser Rishon for the second basket. So basically, with the case of Rabbi Yochanan and the Brisa, the Maser Sheni really is subject to Maser Rishon. If you can redesignate Maser Sheni as Maser Rishon in the case of Rabbi Yochanan, you should be able to do so in the case of the Brisa. The fact that you can't do it in the case of the Brisa means you can't do it in the case of Rabbi Yochanan. I want to see the notes on this. Rabbi Yochanan is a case of Demai. The Brisa is definite Tevel. Maybe you can't redesignate Maser Sheni of definite Tevel as Maser Rishon. The fact that you can't do that doesn't prove you can't redesignate Maser Sheni of Demai as Maser Rishon. Could be Demai is different. So the Gemara says no. It's all very well if you allow redesignation where Demai is due to a kula of Demai, but that's not the reason. Here we're talking about where Demai is because you might tithe Maser Sheni before Maser Rishon. Oh yeah, we won't go into that. So what we got here? So in the Hebrew art scroll they've left out that extra line, and according to the Maskon in the Hebrew one, there's no question of Yochanan. The Rambam Paskins like him. The Gemara, he moves things around in the Gemara. Okay, the Gemara learns that there is a question of Yochanan. So that's the question over here right at the end. In the English, they want to bring those the whole question over here. All right. Well, I think we've done that justice for now. The oil that the person is putting, the craftsman's putting on his fingers is chai b'dmai. The one who does the carding, he does on the wall, potem in a d'mai is potem in a d'mai. Ma ben zelazeh. What's the difference between the weaver and the coma? He says, Zeh agav gufay botel. This one with the oil is on his body, and therefore it gets absorbed in his body and his fingers, therefore it's like anointing, so it's chai b'dmai, like drinking. Whereas there, the one who combs, agav semel botel. With the wool it gets absorbed, and you're not using it not for eating, not for drinking, not for anointing, and therefore it's not chai b'dmai as we learnt in our Mishnah. Adon Allah HaKalim. There we can stop there. Rabbi